That's good. That's good.
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another edition of our Real Estate Backstory. My name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker at Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And then every week we do the Real Estate Backstory, where we kind of go over the comings and goings and all the things happening in the real estate world here in the Atlanta market. So today we got a lot of things happening. So this week in training. So today I'm going to be teaching the Ultimate Buyer System over in our Noonan office, but that's actually going to be virtual only because our in-office class is completely sold out. On Tuesday we have
Bulletproofing. I'm actually teaching bulletproofing and the MBOR virtually. So please join me because we will discuss a lot of real life, what's going on in the market today. And some of these things you won't find in script, nor will you find it in the average contracts.
Yeah, well, Ming is teaching at MBOR, or for MBOR, I guess would be the right way to do it. But it will be a virtual class, but it's a great way to go over how to really prepare your contracts the right way. On Wednesday, I'm teaching the Ultimate Listing System, and that's going to be virtual as well. On Thursday, over in our Fayetteville office, we have Real Intro to Social Media. And so this is held by the powers that be over at New American Funding. So Nancy Barlow is going to be there, and so that's going to be a really cool CE class. And then on Friday, Ming is teaching again. Show me the money, take me to closing. We have a lender, an attorney, the whole 9 yards coming in here. So we hope to see you then. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and start. So we still have the Brian Buffini program that we are doing right now, and so we hope that you guys will kind of jump in with us. There's still time to jump in onto there. We are on Working with Buyers Part 2, and so if you're interested in getting in with us on that, we'd love to have you in here right now. We love the Brian Buffini program, and so this is the 100 Days to Greatness program, and there's still time to get in. You can get it in. It's only in our offices, that kind of stuff. It's a really cool program. You can see all the different modules we've already gone through, but we can still catch you up. So please come in. I implore you to take advantage of that. In addition, coming up in October, we have the Tom Ferry 2021 Success Summit. And so we're going to be live streaming that live from all of our offices at the same time. And so this is in office only, because you could either fly out to Dallas and do it in person, or you could pay yourself, and that's okay. I'm not knocking anyone who wants to do that kind of thing. The keynote speakers this year are Seth Godin and Michelle Poehler, as well as there's going to be really cool things. So on October 5th, it runs from about 10 to 6:30 every single day kind of thing. We're going to have breakfast and lunch taken care of for you guys. So you really have no reason, no cost. We're feeding you breakfast, we're feeding you lunch, and some really amazing information to share. So it's Tuesday, October 5th, Wednesday, October 6th, and then Thursday, October 7th. And so please take advantage of this training, because there really is some awesome stuff out there coming up that can help you grow your business. I want to talk really quickly about the best time to buy is
truly now.
Right now.
Yeah.
And what we found, the talking heads are the big brains. The big brains have really calculated out what's the best time to buy. And so nationwide, the week of October 3rd through October 9th is the absolute best week to buy. And so if you look, and so you can go see on this report, it shows like the reason. And so for the United States as well as for the Atlanta market, October 3rd through October 9th is the best time. During that time period, we have 11% more active listings. We have 23% less property views. We have 25% higher days on market, and we have 12% more listings and 1.4% more price reductions. So that is like the best week, the primo week for our buyers out there. And so this is the sweet spot. For the first time in like weeks and weeks, we actually have seen an uptick in mortgage applications, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But now is a really great time to buy. We need to be sharing this with our clients and really just kind of.
And really quick, please excuse the typo. The typo is September 12th, October 17th, but it's technically October 3rd through the 9th.
Okay. What that really means, though, is that nationwide, that's like the biggest buy window in the country. For the Atlanta market and for the US, it's this particular week.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just thought it was typo. I was just looking
No,
at it.
no typo, no typo, no, but,
Good job,
but
Al.
this is a good time to buy across the board kind of thing is really what it means. At the same time, which is a great thing,
Oh, hallelujah.
bidding wars have reached their lowest level this year. Okay, so we are not that and we're not looking at property values declining. We're not looking at a market shift or anything like that. But we are looking at the lowest at the point where the bidding wars are the lowest that it's been all year long. And so that's
Which
just
is a blessing, because I know a lot of buyers agents gotten really great in contract writing, and also the buyers getting very discouraged.
Yeah.
So,
but you have to also understand that the okay, that's terrible. So are you done? Because
yes,
I can't concentrate. She's trying to fix the lighting on me, and at the same time, it just really makes it blind. So I have no idea what I'm doing at all. So we're going to go back to this. So bidding wars are the lowest level it has been. Let's take that with a little bit of grain of salt, because 74% of our properties were in bidding wars or in competitive bidding. And that's down now to 59%. So still over half. Okay, so it's better than it was. It's not as good as it could be, obviously, but still we are showing signs of moderation when it comes to that.
correct.
There's a new report out from the National Association of Realtors that says America is short 5.24 million homes. And the other thing that goes along with that, they said, well, we have a housing shortage, mainly because we've been making babies faster than we've been building houses for the last 13, 14 years. So we have a real shortage of homes in the United States. And they said, well, we could catch this up in 5 to 6 years if two things happen. One, if we don't add any more households. And two, if we double our construction. Well, we're actually going to come in under that target market. We normally build between 1.2 million and 1.5 million homes this year, and we're probably closer to 1.1 million. And with all the pricing issues and things like that our builders are having, we're not looking at the builders are not only not going to be doubling, they're not even probably going to be hitting normal trends that we've been running at somewhere in that 1.2 million to 1.5 million range. At the same time, as far as when it comes to like not having new households, that's going to be a tough one too, because the millennial generation is all between 28 and 32 years old. And 32 years old is the first time buyer range.
Right.
And so that's the largest generation that we have in the United States is now turning to first time buyer age. So that's not likely to happen either. So when folks are like, oh, what's happening with the market? Well, when's the market going to go down? Market's not going down. And it just at its
not going
supply
down for a
versus
while.
demand.
Yeah.
This is going to be a ride that we're going to be on for a little bit here.
Right. And there's no bubbles right
We're not
now.
going to see these crazy price increases, but we are going to see a strong market for sure. And it will continue to be a seller's market. With this has been a housing affordability index has kind of had some issues. We've kind of seen that. However, we are starting to see some improvements there, actually, which is appreciated kind of thing.
Right.
Housing affordability is one of those things that we have been paying close attention to, and because we want to make sure when renting gets really more, is renting more reasonable because the prices of homes are getting out of reach and things like that. Well, our housing affordability is actually in pretty good shape when you really look at it. And so you can see here in the South that the median family income in the South is around 80,000. However, the income that you need to buy a home is around 50,000. So you can see that we're well below that mark on the minimum needed kind of thing in order to go purchase a house. Based on a percentage of income, it has jumped up about 1.5 though. From last year. Last year, it was around 14.2% of median of your income was payable,
right, to our mortgage.
And now it's 15.7. Overall, we're not as good as the Midwest, but we're better than the West and the Northeast for sure, kind of thing. And we actually come in under the U.S. average on that. On the negative side, but also showing a little bit signs of improvement is, what does that mean to monthly mortgage payments? For several years, we've been seeing mortgage payment, the average mortgage payment in the US running somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100 a month kind of thing. That has jumped up. It did peak in June at about 1250, and that's actually starting to moderate a little bit more, in part because we have such really great mortgage rates, as well as a lot of our homeowners now, as opposed to in previous years, we don't have very many adjustable rate mortgages anymore. ARMs are pretty rare right now.
Right, and just so you know, and the reason why the mortgage rate is so cheap is simply because the interest rate.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. On the on the economy front, small business optimism hit over 100%, which I don't really know how more than 100% of businesses get optimistic, but this is a really good sign that business is feeling very good about what's happening with the economy, where things are going with jobs and that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about jobs more in a minute. Mortgage rates came in at 2.86. They dropped 2/100ths of a point. It was 2.88 last week. It's 2.86. We're going on like the 7th week in the 2.8 range kind of thing. At the same time, we saw purchase applications jump by 7% last week.
That is great.
And that's the highest level since April.
And I think that's due to partially more inventory come online, like we mentioned last week. And also therefore, sellers also know they're listing at their highest right now. Most of them are.
Yeah.
So therefore, when they get a good offer, they're going to take it.
Well, but the fact that we have more folks applying for mortgages, that's a really good sign for for those of us in housing kind of thing. Plus, we're seeing more inventory coming on the market, things like that. This is a really good turn of events for us here going on. All right, consumer prices rose about 5.3%. But however, that is much less than what the government and the talking heads are really looking at having. Lower inflation is really good for us. It's also probably going to help us keep our mortgage rates nice and low where we like to see them. So that's good. FHA had put out some rules earlier this year on second home loans, and they have suspended those limits now. So, especially during the summer, we saw a lot of pressure, and we saw several lenders that refused, just stopped doing second mortgages or doing mortgages for second homes.
Well, they did that because the inventory is so low, and the FHA buyer were not able to obtain a property because all the conventional was able to buy second property.
Well, but also in the secondary mortgage market, FHA was not going to, they weren't going to buy them in the secondaries market. And so now those limits have been removed. So we'll see if that kind of affects the secondary mortgage market at all or not. We'll just kind of see where that kind of moves. I mean, where that moves to second home market or not right now. So America has 8.4 million unemployed and 10 million job openings, which seems kind of
scratching your head a little bit.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but a lot of that is where folks are kind of underemployed, I guess you'd say, because on one hand, folks are saying, well, gosh, this looks like boom time kind of thing. But I think we're all seeing where you go out and you can't, you try and get into restaurants and you can't. There's short staff signs everywhere, help wanted signs everywhere, kind of thing. And so, that's really kind of carrying all the way through. And we're seeing where this week is going to be kind of a telling factor, because this week is when the federal unemployment for $300 in weekly federal unemployment ends. So we're not sure, when I say we, like anybody, as far as I can tell, really knows exactly where that happens, because when a lot of states stopped the state side, we didn't see a big drop in unemployment at the same time, but it has been a steady improvement. But right now our job openings have exceeded the number of job seekers, and it is in a lot of different industries. Professional business service has half of the folks they're looking for. Education is another one. Healthcare is another one that's really big, kind of thing. And so, there are a lot of jobs out there. At the same time, we're seeing where the really low wage jobs and those kind of things, those are the ones that are going to continue to struggle, because there's a lot of choices. We're seeing where, there's a lot of economists call it the great reshuffling, where there's so many people moving and changing jobs right now that it really is very, very challenging for employers, but also for employees, kind of thing. All right, let's look at some numbers. So Realtor.com released some national, and now these are national numbers, but we follow the nation fairly closely kind of thing. We're a driver in this as well here in the South. So, but this is where we're actually looking. And so this is our active listing counts. And so the little yellow chart at the bottom, you can see that, we are still well below what our historical trends are on the number of active listings. However, we see
an upward
yeah, exactly. We're moving in the right direction. So very pleased to see that kind of thing. And here on newly listed homes, you can see that guess what? We are actually over last year.
Yay.
Now we are going to start seeing some normal trends, kind of, just how it goes as far as, we're heading into the fall and into the winter. Those are traditionally slower months.
Correct.
Now last year was definitely a bit of an outlier.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see that even represented here on the screen. We're looking to be closer to last year, but not quite as extreme as that was. So it is going to be very interesting to see where this kind of rolls out. But we are seeing more inventory coming on the market right now, which we really need. Now, of that inventory, you can see that right now about 37% of it is made up of homes between 750 and 1,750 square foot. And that's really, really good because we need more starter homes, entry-level homes. Right now, the biggest demographic buying are millennials, first-time buyers, and that fits right in there. So that's really good to see that because we want more of those folks to buy homes. And you can see that this is overall the growth in smaller home listings in the nation. And you can see that overall here in the Atlanta metro area, we're looking pretty good on that because we're one of the places that has seen some of the greatest increase in those quote unquote smaller or starter level homes in there. Days on market, not such great news there because we are still low. We're not as low as we were. You can see that the trend is moving up a little bit, but a lot of that is very much seasonal. But still, we need to see days on market really looking a little bit more normal there kind of thing. And then the listing price. One thing that we've seen with the median listing price is that, we've seen prices increasing, but now we're starting to see some tapering. You can see that we've actually been dropping now.
Right. So if you look at June and July was our highest listing price point, and then now we're starting tailing down.
Yep.
Almost back to May's pricing.
Yeah. And at the same time, look at the percentage of homes that have had a price reduction kind of thing. And so we have had more properties take a price reduction this year now than we had last year. And we're heading up into historical norm territory. And that really should help to kind of signal that our sellers need to be very reasonable because the days of just throwing this out, make me move pricing, that kind of stuff, it's really not.
It's not. I mean, it just depends on what, location.
Yeah.
That's always been the driving force as well, and demanding what you want.
Yep. Now, here in the Atlanta area kind of thing, our median listing price year over year is up about 12.2. Now, this is a running trend. We have been running 14.7. So this is much more moderate than we're actually have been running. Our active listing count year over year is down 32%, which we already knew. However, our new listing count year over year is now up 2.4% over last year. Median days on the market is 34. That's up pretty significantly for us kind of thing. And so you can see that, the number of properties that are having a price reduction, 16.3%. So, a little over 15% of all of our properties right now are needing to take a price reduction. That should indicate to our listing agents that we need to be very realistic about price, to our sellers, as well as to the buyers that the market it's not going to shift into a buyer's market. We're not looking at that, but we are looking at it being a much more balanced seller's market, I guess you say, for lack of a better term, kind of thing.
Oh, goodness
let's talk about renting in 2021. So there's some new data out on renting, and so there's been, and the reason we like to highlight renting, I know that we talk about real estate, but right now our number one buyer is a millennial buyer, right? There's more millennial buyers, and guess what they're doing right now?
Renting.
So we need to be looking at these numbers kind of thing. So overall, 88% of Americans would rather own a home than rent. So do you think renters are a good market to speak to?
Absolutely.
That's a really great number for us. As far as their biggest challenges, down payment is the biggest barrier for our renters out there right now. 54% of renters say they can't afford a down payment. Another 36% that say it's too high. However, you also have to understand that a lot of our renters still think that you need 20% down. And I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great idea to have 20% down. We're seeing a lot of down payments that are actually in that range, very common right now. However, you don't necessarily have to have 20% to buy a home in this market kind of thing. So right now, half of our renters are worried they'll never be able to buy a home. Among generations, 55% of Gen Xers who don't currently own are concerned more than any other group. So this is a group that's very open to talking to us, to being very open-minded about what we can do to help them, to be a buyer in this market kind of thing. So, the other crazy thing is that, on one hand, the renting market has made it much more difficult, the buying market, because we've seen property values increase. But the renters are also realizing, gosh, if we had bought, we would have been
so much better off. We would pay at least on the average anywhere from $400 to $600 less than what they're paying in rent.
And not only that, but we would be taking advantage of property values increase instead of just paying our landlords kind of thing.
Right.
So, renters are really looking at this also right now, because
that's a kind of wake up call for them.
Yeah, it really is. So right now, homeownership remains the American dream kind of thing. We kind of talked about this earlier. Why would they rather own our home? The number one is that flexibility. They want to be able to do what they can, not worry about renewing their lease. They want to have pride of home ownership. And so, there's nothing really earth shattering about this. This is all very much common sense kind of thing. Why? Again, we already talked about it. Down payments, number one, home prices, number two, credit scores, number three. So, getting serious about their down payment, getting partnered up with a lender right away, that's a super big deal for our lenders. Now, the other really bad news, if you're a renter right now, is that there is no safe haven in rental properties. Nationwide, August rent data is up 11.4% nationwide on rental properties. However, we live in Atlanta. Atlanta is the 10th highest market for rent increases in the nation. Property rent year over year is up 21.2%.
Yeah.
Okay, 22. Now we've seen double-digit property values increase, and we've had a lot of folks who's like, I'm just going to wait for property values to come down. I'm just going to rent right now. Well, guess what they're doing at the moment? They're crying at the moment because yes, we saw a 14% increase in property values overall, 14.7, somewhere around that range for the Atlanta market last year. Look at rent. Rent went up, property values 14.7, rental values year over year 21.2. So the renters are taking it even harder right now. And so we have historically low mortgage rates. We are seeing more inventory come over, and we're seeing rental prices that are going through the stinking roof kind of thing. Now we're better than Clearwater. Clearwater's up 30%, but you can see that overall top 10, we are in there. And on one hand, it's a negative, but on the other hand, hey, let's start looking at buying and get you out of that really expensive rental out there. So guess what our next shortage is, right?
Appraiser, just so you know, appraisal used to run about 400, 450. Right now they're running about 700 to 850.
Yeah, but what's the reason? Well, one of the biggies is that a lot of appraisers are refusing, like you have to apprentice with an existing appraiser.
Absolutely.
And a lot of appraisers aren't taking any new apprentices because that's giving them the ability to kind of control the market. They can control how many competitors they have. They're able to charge basically whatever they want right now. Challenge for us is that 32% of agents have had a closing either delayed or canceled in the last 2 years because of the appraisal issues. And it really is starting to affect time. I'm not trying to be an adversary with our appraisers. We need good property appraisers. We need that partnership right there. But we have seen not only inflational prices on appraisal, but outright, in some places we're seeing double on what an appraiser.
$400 to $800. Come on, y'all. That's double
in a
literally
year kind of thing.
Yeah. And not only that, the lender would send out appraisal requests. Like, for example, September 1st, that appraisal request sometimes may not be picked up until September the 10th. And then you have some time in between the picked up date to the back to the lender date.
And we're seeing rush appraisals over $1,000.
Yep.
So one, we need to be aware of what's going on. We need to be conscious about all the things happening, and we need to try and, knowledge is power there. And so be prepared. Don't wait on appraisals, especially right now. Down in Florida, we had a realtor that was sued. There was a listing for 4.6 million. Nice listing. And the challenge here is that, and I, first of all, I'm not a lawyer, and I can only speak about what's going on. But we have where the person that made the offer on there was a multiple offer scenario, and the listing broker that represented the seller also represented the other buyer. However, the buyer that submitted an offer at $500,000 over asking actually ended up finding who the seller was and asked the seller if they had actually seen their offer, and the seller didn't. And so we need to be very careful when it comes time to double in listings. And I know that we don't, there are not true dual agency here. We represent the seller as a client, we represent the buyer as a customer, but we're still required, for all honesty. The other thing that we're required, all offers are submitted. I don't care if it's on a cocktail napkin, all offers are submitted. And so this is a really important issue for the integrity of our business, for the integrity of our entire industry right here.
So guess what? In Georgia, license law, if you are sued, you can lose your entire commission over this. Not only that, you can get fined and also revoked of your license.
So I'm not trying to say that that's exactly what happened, but I can promise that's kind of what's in the news right now. And so we need to be real smart. So if you're listing agents, I will always prefer to not double in deals. I know it sounds odd, but you can only represent one party.
Well, you can't serve two masters. Yeah. That's the bottom line. And if you are serving two folks at the same time, you got to make it very clear.
And you have to be honest, 100% honest.
License law requires you to be honest in everything you do.
So that's one thing we need to be keeping an eye out for out there. The National Association of Realtors and the Department of Justice reached a settlement earlier this year. And then the DOJ kind of said, nah, don't mean it. And so the Department of Justice backed out. And so now the National Association of Realtors is back suing them again, saying, and they're going, nuh-uh. And so it's just kind of this weird back and forth thing going on. But a lot of it stems from the way that we handle listings at the end, through the National Association of Realtors, how we syndicate listings, that kind of stuff, and making sure that there's plenty of open communication and open competition. So we'll see where that really goes, but just when that's out there. So kind of want to wrap up with this, and this is retirement savings. Realtors, we love you, but we find that a lot of our realtors don't plan for retirement. A lot of times they go through these traps of, I got plenty of time, I'm young. Well, not if you're my age, you're not that young. Or, it's just too hard to invest. Or I can make it up later on if I just get a part-time job or something like that. And then some folks just get really discouraged. They're like, I'll never make enough money to make a difference. So, but you've got to look at what do you need to do if you're trying to build that $1 million nest egg by the time you reach 65. Well, if you're 25, that means you need to save $380 a month in order to do that. Now, if you're an agent, is it really that tough to save $385
honestly,
a month on there?
If you would just split your commission, put one in saving, one's in checking account, and never touch the savings, because if you don't see it in your checking account, it's not there.
So, if you look at the differences here from 25 to 55, at 25, we need $380 a month. However, at 35, we need $820 a month. At 45, we need almost $2,000 a month. And at 55, we need almost $6,000 a month, which is where we're at, right?
Oh,
so, we start now, start early, build retirement into how you're accepting or not how you're managing your money.
Correct.
This is not something that you want to wait down the line, be like, oh, I'll get to it now. If you're 25, you need to be thinking about retirement now.
Yep.
So if we can be of any service, call, text, smoke signals. We hope that you guys have a phenomenal week, and hopefully we'll see you online too.
Thank you. Have a great day.
I think we are.